Hello, awesome folks. I hope you are having just an absolutely amazing day today. Today I wanted to review the video game Front Office Football number 9, if you will, the 9th version. It just came out in last December 2023. For you folks, there was just recently a new pack put out with the 2020 players for Front Office Football. That was put out for you folks. I like it lots, and so I'm going to be reviewing this. I just bought it a couple months ago, and I've already played like hundreds of hours into it on Steam. I'll link it to you on Steam too for you folks. So this is basically a video game that got started for more than 20 years. After the first edition was published by EA Games as an independent by Seismic Software. EA Games came along, saw how good it was at being sort of a GM, and they started to publish the franchise for a couple of years with FOF 2K1. Good stuff. I liked it lots. That's how I was introduced to it. At the time, I was a Madden fan, and I liked the franchise mode a lot. And so I was a regular contributor to Madden Mania, a forum at the time, and I posted some of my thoughts on ways that I thought the GM portion of it could be pushed and so forth into a more modern and better version, a gaming version. And one of the people posted back to me and says, "That sounds like you're describing Front Office Football." And that was the first time I had heard about Front Office Football, right? And so I checked it out, which is a GM simulator at the time. Now you can do coaches and call plays and that sort of a thing, but at the time it was more of a GM simulator. And that was my favorite part about Madden was running all the drafts and signing new characters and that sort of thing, not running the plays. So that's what I wanted to do. So I focused on that, grabbed it, loved it. 2K1 was my first edition in FOF after FOS 1 and 2. So that was my first one. Loved it lots. Love it, still love it to this day, and so forth. And I regularly put hundreds of hours into each version. So basically, what's happening here is that you start with a football team, and there are a lot of options. Even in Front Office Football 9, for example, you can choose with a number of different teams, different names. You can name them yourself. Different years, different eras, different number of games, different numbers of teams, right? And that sort of a thing. You choose them, then you choose their names, and that sort of a thing. And then you choose your player file. I chose the 2024 recently for the Panthers for 16 years. Loved it a lot. 14 years rather. Won 5 Super Bowls with the Panthers, which they'd never won before. Then I left out and did the Browns too for 6 years, and won 1 Super Bowl with them with a newly generated character that was created in the draft that I traded up for. So good stuff. So anyway, so you'll start off with a team in preseason. You'll play your games, make cuts, sign other players that are undrafted free agents or other characters that haven't been signed yet, trades, all that stuff. You have all those options, and then after you play your preseason games, you make the preseason cuts down to your final 53, and then you can choose which players you're going to activate for the year. You have to have an active roster. You'll choose your depth chart, and then you'll start playing games in the season, and so forth. Now, I hand my depth chart and season 6 choices and who's on my active roster, all those things, who's activated, to my head coach. Because again, I don't want, and you can also call plays. You set the play chart. You can create a playbook. All that stuff's in here too. But I choose not to do that because again, I just want to GM simulate it and so forth. But those options are available. Now the UI isn't great. There are some ways in which the UI is better than previous years, and some ways in which it's worse, like finding out who has the awards at the end of the season, or who has the All Pros. They're called All Leagues here. They're All Pro awards. I just don't feel like they have some of the great things. Also, it's harder to name them here rather than just changing their names in the game. You have to go to a document and change them, and then it'll load it up from the start. You have to start that before you start your first game, and that's in that. Just a heads up. So some things are a little weirder and harder than FOF8, and some things are better than FOF8, like the number of options you have at the beginning of the year. You can choose a 16-game season, a 17-game season, right, and such, right, the number of teams you have. All those sorts of things are great. You can also choose a random file instead of having it, or you can draft the players instead of them being assigned to the team, right? There's lots of different ways to set up a league, right? That's a great stuff. And so I'm thinking it's probably about the same as FOF8, but this was a recalibration. It wasn't just using the old code. They wanted to go back and recode it and so forth. And so it's got a lot of new bells and whistles, but then I think it has some UI step backs and so forth. So I consider it about the same as FOF8, but you'll want to use the newer stuff, especially with all of the new options for you folks. So I'm probably going to give this an 8 out of 10. It's a classic of classics. I love it a lot. It's heavily influential. It influenced a lot of sports sims like this that are text-based rather than graphic. So it's definitely heavily influential. And like I said, it's well enough to influence to EA themselves to buy it for a couple of games. So a couple of years. So I like it lots. 8 out of 10 for you folks. It's not a perfect game, but it's great. Love it lots. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to do it. I'll link you to the Steam link so you can buy it in case you're interested. Checking it out for you folks. That's FOF8. I'm sorry, FOF9 if you will, rather, versus FOF8. I'm giving it an 8 too. All right, thank you so. I just want to, if you enjoyed this, why not the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, and let your friends know, like sports fans, management fans, FOF fans, whatever, and then such like that. And then as a reminder, this channel's name is the worst thing about new books. That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And this is a game that was first started, heavily influential more than 20 years ago, in the late 1990s. And so it's been around for more than 25 years, right? And this is the latest iteration. But it's not, but people might not know about it and that sort of a thing. So that's why I'm doing my review of it too. And I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it to watching my video, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. So I appreciate it. And once again, have a great day, and thanks again.